Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
It's your it's your brothers from the Hopeful Elect coming again on this Monday. I know you guys aren't really used to Monday videos. Um uh this is kind of my makeup video, right? I know I was supposed to get on Thursday. We had a lot going on, setting up tents and all of that stuff as we were um at a campground in Macon. All praise to the Most High. And it's kind of my makeup video from Thursday, but also it's also our conclusion video for the Feast of Tabernacles, right? Because today was our last day, right? Call Allah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And so we had a wonderful Feast of Tabernacles out in the wilderness. And we're going to get into a couple things, right? First and foremost, we want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We do so by way of his only begotten Son, who is an instrument of salvation for the nation, right? Our nation. We celebrated the Feast of Tabernacles this week. If you were tuned into the YouTube, if you were tuned into the Bible Princess YouTube, you know that, right? And you kind of seen some of the uh, what I want to say, some of
Short
the
clip.
short clips, but I wanted to say some of the things that took place and we went through during the feast days, right?
Um,
And so we're gonna touch on a little bit of things, man. All in all, man, right? We thank the Most High God for allowing us to have another Feast of Tabernacles, and to be kept the way we kept it. The title of the video is going to be called "Swords into Plows."
mm,
Swords into Plows, a Feast of Tabernacles conclusion, right? If I had to subtitle this, right, um, the brother Obadiah uh, had labeled, one part of our tabernacles adversity, right?
mm,
I would, it's crazy, man, because the Feast of Tabernacles happens right after Atonement, but it's one of those feast days, at least this year, it felt like an extension of Atonement, right? Uh,
facts.
because we were so afflicted in many ways, personally and collectively. We went through challenges, and we got through it. And I think this is our last Leviticus 20. This is the last Leviticus 23 feast of the year.
Con,
Mm-hmm.
Con, man, right? And so we're kind of on the downhill right now. I think the next couple feasts are gonna be fun. You know what I'm saying? But these feasts that we just did, um, especially the three feasts that all the males were supposed to appear before the Lord in Jerusalem, the ones that we kept, uh, those were very mighty feasts this year, and I think a lot of atoning was done, a lot of affliction was done, and I think it was for the better to build us up, right? Kind of wanted to start this video off by just asking the brothers how they their personal recaps of Feast of Tabernacles, how it went. You know what I'm saying, and just kind of give your sense of it all, and kind of like your peak and your pits of the week, right? Anybody can start, feel free.
well, I guess I'll pop it off, man. Feast of Tabernacles went well. Dealt with a lot of adversity. Um, had tent break on me early throughout the week, so was able to go and retrieve, what I'm saying, another tent miraculously from one of my in-laws, man. All praises for that. So um, if that's one word I could sum up Tabernacles this year. It's been a very adversity, I guess you could say, facing week, but nonetheless, man, through the spirit, it was mighty. Being out on the land with the brothers, man, is always good for fellowship. It's always good for memories, and the people I think about the most, and who I want to enjoy the experience the most, is always going to be the children. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that's going to be, taking our stead when the Lord decides to have us retire or the Lord decides to call us home. And it's only my only hope is that when in that day that whatever happens, whenever the Lord decides to call, or whenever it's time for it to pass the torch, man, I can only pray that we raised our children up in a righteous manner, so that way they could continuously keep the commandments, and it be a beautiful thing for generations and generations to come. So summing it up, man, beautiful, beautiful location, beautiful gathering. All praises to the Most High for not only the brothers on the screen, but also our wives, man, for preparing the meals for the brothers, for the brother Denal's wife for picking the location. The brother Obadiah's wife for bringing a lot of fun and activity to the I guess you could say holy day. It was a beautiful experience on my end. Pecan.
Next.
Con. Hey, man, I say, man, first and foremost, all praise to the Most High, of course, right? And the only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Man, I say this was a very interesting tabernacles. And the reason why I say that, like the brother said, I was just recording short clips, and I wasn't just showing I guess you can say like the brother Isaiah said, I got it from brother Isaiah. I guess you can say not just the good sides of tabernacles, but I also was trying to show the adversity sides, man. So like the rain, when it was raining, and we had to kind of had to try to make it work. We had a fire, so we had to put the tent over the fire. We had to go get some wood first, go in the rain and go find some wood to bring back to the campsite to start the fire. And I think that was very cool, man, because we got that experience of actually being out. And that's what tabernacle is all about, being out in the wilderness. And when you out in the wilderness, it's not just sunny all the time. Right, everything just not gonna go smooth all the time when you're in the wilderness. You say sometimes you gotta switch plans. You may have had something that you planned to do, but then adversity come. Like the weather may kind of change, and you ain't planning to, or like I had a flat tire on my car out of nowhere. So it's like that adversity hit, and it's like now we gotta make it work. Now we gotta we gotta make this thing work because. When the sun go down, it's a Sabbath, so we had to make this thing work through the Spirit. But I think in all, man, I think it was a beautiful, wonderful tabernacles. This was my first time actually keeping it, with these brothers in a long time, man. So it was cool to be able to, and it was different now because I can't remember the last time I kept with y'all. Did y'all have kids?
Yeah, they was real small, I believe.
They was real small.
Yeah, they was dead, pretty much newborns, I think.
Yeah, at last time you came, I only had 2 kids.
Yeah,
they were 7
man.
months.
Yeah, man. So just to be able to keep it, and like the brother, I can't remember. I think it was Denali, the Azrael, when I was at camp and I interviewed y'all for my day 6 tabernacles video, and one of y'all brothers said, it was a good experience because. You get to really see how, it's a family bond. It's like you out there living with each other, and bonding as a family. So that's what tabernacle is all about, man. It's about remembering what the Most High God did for us in Egypt. And it's also about coming together as a family, because that's what we are. We are body in the congregation, but even more than that, we are family at the end of the day. And this is something that we're going to be keeping in the kingdom of heaven. So we trying to rehearse the righteous acts and keep it to the best of our ability. But yeah, man, I don't want to ramble too much. I think it was a smooth tabernacle through the Spirit, man. Everybody was, I feel like, was genuine. I feel like we had like the brother the brother Isaiah said, the brother Denar real picked the camp spot. It was a beautiful camp spot, man. Everything looked good. Had a beach, all type of stuff. And we played some Bible games, ate some s'mores, talked. I know the brother Denal went in earlier, but last night brother was out talking at 3:00 in the morning, by the fire. I kept dozing off, waking up. Brother still talking, doze off, wake up. I hear brother still talking. Brother didn't went to their tent yet, but it was a good conversation though, man. It was fun, man. I look forward to many more of tabernacling with the brothers and the sisters too.
Con. Hey, before you go, brother Azrael, I kind of messed this up. and I kind of jumped the gun. I did have a precept that I wanted to share before we gave testimonies, and then I was gonna give a precept or a couple precepts in between everybody's testimony. So I'll squeeze some precepts in right now before Brother Azrael goes, and then after Azrael goes, I'll probably get another precept, and then I'll go, and then have a closing precept because I only got like 5 precepts. It's not too long, but I did want to do kind of like a Feast of Tabernacles conclusion / testimonial, right? So I'm gonna share my screen real quick. um. Share my screen real quick. So the title of the video, man, I titled it "Swords into Plows," coming from this precept right here. And I'll explain a little why I titled it that after we read it. So if a brother could read this for me, Isaiah 2:4.
So this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 2, and verse number 4, and it reads, "And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore."
Come on, man, right? And so I really just wanted to grab what I wanted out of this precept, which was the swords into plowshares and their spears and the pruning hooks, just to get you guys to envision that sometimes what may seem bad can be turned into good, right? I could have titled it something cliche like joy from mourning, or what was meant for my bad has been turned to my good, right? But I kind of wanted to be a little bit more specific, and a little bit more intentional and pull from this precept: swords into plows. A lot of times something might look like a sword in your life, right? But it ends up being a tool in your life that you can use and grow from, right? I'm gonna go to the next precept really quick. We're gonna knock some of these out. James chapter 1, I believe, and verse number 2. We're gonna James 1 and 2, and we're gonna read through verse 4.
James chapter 1, starting at verse 2. My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing.
See, it says, knowing this is one of my favorite precepts, man. Because when things come in your life to tempt you, and it intentionally slows you down, right? The temptations right here is not really necessarily talking about like a fair woman coming your way or something like that. No, this is talking about when life gets hard and it's tempting. Life is tempting for you to give up, right? When things go wrong in your life, sometimes it makes you be patient by default, right? You want it to end, but by default, you got your hands is off. You can't control it, and the Most High is under control, right? So it teaches you a few things. It teaches you patience, and it says, "Let patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect, entire, wanting nothing," right? And so at the end of it all, you're gonna come out of it wanting nothing. When we examine what that means, wanting nothing means that you got out of it what you needed to get out of it, right? And you're at want for nothing. A lot of times you get onto the other side and you see why it was necessary to go through something, or you see why it's necessary that something happened a certain way, right? Even though it looked like a sword, it ended up being a plow. We talked a little bit about this during our week, during several occasions, right? And I'll get into that as well. After we get into some the brothers Azrael testimonial, right? Because I don't want to steal from anybody's testimonial, but I will touch on a few things that happened this week, right? All in all, though, it was a beautiful week, and we made it through the week. You know what I'm saying? We all made it home safely, made it home safe in time to do this video, right? And it didn't have to be that way. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things could have transpired that didn't. So we all praises for that. I'm gonna get one more precept, and I'm gonna let Brother Azrael share his testimony. We're gonna go to the book of Genesis and verse 50. Write these precepts down, man. If you're going through anything in life, and you're waiting for it to be turned around. 50 and 20. We got a scribe in the chat.
Khan, shout out to the brother Baruch in the chat, man.
Khan. Shout out to the brother Baruch. Genesis 50 and 20. But Brother Obadiah can read that.
Con, this book of Genesis, chapter 50 and verse 20. But as for you, ye thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good, to bring to pass that it as it is this day, to save much people alive.
God, man, to save much people alive. A lot of times, you know, things might happen. You might be like, man, today out of all days, you might be like, man, right now, it had to happen right now, right? And then at the end of it all, you see is to save much people alive, right? It ends up being for your good, because we can't predict the future, but our God, our Creator, the one that we tell people every week, the person that knows what's supposed to go in our bodies and what's not supposed to go in our bodies, he knows what's ahead of us, right? And sometimes he can put obstacles in your way to speed up things so you can get through it, so it won't happen at a real inopportune time. You think it's at an inopportune time right now, but what if it happened just maybe 6 hours, 12 hours later, right? You never know what's going to be in the future. So the inopportune time that you think may not be the most inopportune time. And so a lot of times we can rejoice and be glad that stuff happens when they do, and we can get through them, right? But I'll pause right there before we get to the next two precepts, and I'll let Brother Azrael share his testimonial before we move on, and then I'll share my testimonial. We'll go through two precepts. After that, I'll share my testimonial, and then we'll do closing remarks.
Man, the older I get and the longer I've been in this truth, man, the more I just, like to keep stuff real and kind of ponder the scriptures. And so you'll hear me talk like this a lot, man. If you've noticed in my speech, I've I've started talking about this. I went on a rant about prayer not too long ago in one of the other videos, just keeping it real, real down to earth, right? That's a good phrase to use. As I search the scriptures and I look at the scriptures, it says that we kept these feasts in joy and gladness, right? Now, a lot of times we kept these feasts in joy and gladness in our generations forever. A lot of times we kept these feasts and joys and gladness. It was in the land, or it was when we had our temple, we had our priesthood and things of that nature. And a lot of times when we were in captivity, we did not keep the feasts, which is why we read in scripture, and they got in the book of the law and saw how they kept the Passover. They got the book of the law and saw how they were commanded to keep tabernacles. So that lets you know a lot of times in captivities, we had forgot the feast. So we weren't keeping it in joy and gladness. I say all that to say, we go through these feasts here in captivity, man, and those same spirits from the wilderness, when we did not have a land, when we did not have a temple, when our priesthood was just getting set up, a lot of them spirits pop up, man, when you're not in the place that you're supposed to be according to God. A lot of them spirits pop up from person to person. A lot of them spirits pop up dealing with weather and dealing with madness and chaos, and like the brother said, adversity. A lot of these things happen to try to take your joy, try to take your spirit away from you, try to take your gladness away from you, man. And you might start saying, man, this is a lot. This is not what I expected, man. I'm really just ready to go home, right? And I'm saying all that to say this, man. We cannot wait to get back where we're supposed to be as a nation, right? When we get back to where we're supposed to be as a nation, you ain't gonna have to hunt for land. We're gonna have land to do what we need to do. You ain't gonna have to be afraid of your job, right? And you're not gonna have to worry about your job calling you when you're out keeping the Lord's commandments, because everybody will be keeping the Lord's commandments. You won't have to worry about money to buy miscellaneous food, firewood, and all this, because we'll be the lenders and not the borrowers, right? But we're not there yet. So I say that to say this tabernacles, man, we went through some adversity, like the brother said, right? And I'm sure it was plenty of times where brothers and sisters and children got irritated throughout the time that we was out there. Nonetheless, we rehearsing the righteous acts, right? Because we have hope and comfort in the scriptures that one day we're going to be keeping this in the kingdom, in front of a temple, in front of our Savior. And we're going to be doing this in joy and gladness. So we try to make ourselves have joy and gladness. Why? Because in the world, when we were celebrating these other holidays, right, we didn't care that we was broke. We didn't care that, we was, going broke for these holidays. We didn't care that we had to travel long distances to see family for these holidays. We didn't care. Guess what? We still had joy and gladness through all that. So even for the Most High God, we can have joy and gladness, even when things don't go our way. Even when you get a flat tire on the way to an event. Even when you don't have as much money as you think that you should have to have a good time. Even when the food details don't iron themselves out. Even when weather comes and distracts you from the plans that you had set for the day, you still need to find a way to be enjoying gladness, because it was commanded of us, man. So we had a mighty tabernacles, man. We made it through, right? It was a lot. It was a lot. And Salakia, my screen just went away from me. It was a lot. And, I wouldn't trade it for the world, you know what I'm saying? Because each tabernacles we learn more. Each tabernacles we grow more. One thing I'll say that I've learned from this tabernacles is we got to continue to count the cost. We got to continue to be more organized. We got to continue to have better communication, right? And that's going to be until Christ come back. But those things that I just mentioned, I mentioned those things because we're going to have to continue to work on those things. Because like Brother Isaiah said, our kids are looking at us and they're looking at this they're looking up to us to make sure that these things are running flawless, that these things are running effortlessly, so that they cannot be stressed out themselves, so that they can have as much fun, so that they can feel like everything's handled. And when it's their time, that we're going to leave them in good standards and good hands, that if they have a question on how something goes, they can come to us and have a confident answer, right? And so the last thing I'll say is shout out to all the camps and congregations and all the individualites, all the people that's keeping the feast days. It's not an easy thing in captivity. So big ups to all the nation that's keeping them. And definitely shout out to those bigger congregations. We are a smaller congregation, but shout out to the bigger congregations, because even in these small congregations, man, we be going through it when it comes to organization and plans and stuff like that. So, and I think one of the sisters said it, the brothers always say it, man, we see what Moses was going through leading the people, man. Man, to get Jake in order, man, you know what I'm saying? It takes a lot, man. But the Most High God covered us, man. He allowed us to have a good feast season, right? And hopefully these next feasts that are ordained through our ancestors that are coming up are the same. But Khan, shalom.
Khan, man, Khan. Mighty testimonials from the brothers, man. I'm gonna go ahead and do mine right now so we can end out on some precepts. Right. One I want to say, man, again, it just all seems like an extension of atonement, right? It's not a bad thing, we did eat good, so there's that. We didn't have to starve ourselves for this feast, but it did seem like a kind of an extension of atonement. And when you think about it, it kind of is set up that way, right? When you look at a lot of the feast days, they lead into other feast days, especially so when you think about Passover, leads into unleavened bread. They kind of associated. Atonement leading into Feast of Tabernacles. You're going out to the wilderness. You're dwelling in booths, right? It's not supposed to be super comfortable. Shout out to to the sister Iberia. She made a post about it. It's not supposed to be super comfortable. So it's still a little bit of an affliction, right? And the brother Obadiah, I think that would be the word for this year is at, or not this year, but this feast is adversity, right? A few things that kind of struck us as adversity, that we came through, right? What can I say? Well, you could talk about the journey there. I know everybody probably wanted to get there more at a reasonable time, set up at a reasonable time, this, that, and the third. Some would argue that the first night was kind of chilly, right? I didn't bring a hoodie, right? I usually do. I brought a jacket, but I could have brought a hoodie. It was kind of freezing that first night. Sometimes people weren't ready for that. But even moving forward to that, right? I felt so I got off work, got to the campsite, and was feeling fine. A few hours after being at the campsite, I started feeling a little under the weather, man. You know what I'm saying? And I laid it down early that night. Woke up feeling even worse. You know what I'm saying? It's just adversity, though. And so I'm dealing with an illness or a little sickness throughout the whole week, but I'm still trying to make the best out of it. And then so you wake up the next morning. I want to preface by saying this: it's a blessing and a curse dealing with work. We all got to fight to take off work and stuff like that. It may not be convenient at times. I want to say all praise to the Most High that it was a easy time to take off and a hard time to take off. I say easy because there's a lot going on at work right now. I work at a university. It was homecoming. They have the Georgia National Fair that we're at. The expo's coming up, stuff like that. So it's good. I can camouflage and kind of dip when I need to, and people really don't know my whereabouts, but they probably still think I'm working. You know what I'm saying? But it's a good time to dip off, right? It's bittersweet. All praises to that. But it is hectic at work because the whole time I was out on my phone buzzing and ringing, and I gotta kind of quarterback a few things while I'm out there. And it can kind of get kind of stressful that way. Also, I know there's some brothers that's in between jobs or want new jobs, right? And then the Most High provide for them. Not only when it comes to nourishment and things like that, but also you never know, like, if you were to start a new job, the pressure might have been on you to not take off. You know what I'm saying? If you just starting, it'd be kind of weird to tell your boss, hey, I need all these days off. I know I just started. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes the Most High can delay something so you can start the right way. You got to think about stuff like that. And so it's all bittersweet, even when it comes to our jobs and stuff like that. And so we've had conversations about jobs in general, because it's like, bro, if it's commanded of the Lord, you got to be ready to get fired no matter what. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be able to get fired like the 3 Hebrew boys, whether he saves us or he don't. We got to keep these commandments. But one thing about it, if you keep these commandments in the land of captivity, he's going to hide you in the midst of chaos. He's going to hide you in your professions. He's going to preserve your jobs because you're doing something for him. And you got to have the faith enough to know he's going to do so, right? Moving on, some other things that happened. Let's talk about the rain, man. The rain came. It was supposed to rain. It really was supposed to rain all week. And brothers and sisters was kind of getting nervous. You know what I'm saying? We was like, man, it's going to be a time. But it really only rained for one day. And it didn't even rain the whole complete day. Kind of. It showers off and on. It was inconvenient. First, it was said to rain at 3. Then it got pushed up to 2. Then it started raining at 11, and then it got pushed back to 4, 5, and 6, and then it's supposed to rain at 8. You know what I'm saying? So it was all over the place. Ultimately, one can look at, because we were supposed to go to the fair that day on Sunday, right? Supposed to go to the fair, have a bunch of fun, right? Ride rides, eat funnel cake, stuff like that. And the fellas was talking, and while it was raining and whatnot, everybody's kind of just lightly talking, and everybody was like, you know what? This is a perfect excuse not to go. You know what I'm saying? Although we want to go to the fair, it's a perfect excuse not to go because all the fellas was like, "Hey, money tight right now." You know what I'm saying? Money is tight, and so it seemed like a bummer on one end, but at the same time, I think there was a brother on the screen right now, one of the four brothers that's with us right now. He said something like, "Why would we go and do an event that's gonna leave us more broke than what we already are?" You know what I'm saying? And so it made it seem like it was a sword, you know, coming towards us for our pockets. But at the end of the day, it ended up being a plow. We got to save a little bit of money from that rain, and we stayed back at the shelter, which led us to another adversity. You know, trying to keep a fire out there wasn't the best thing, with the drizzle. You know what I'm saying? With the chairs and everything getting wet, we had baby bouncers getting wet and all of this stuff while trying to maintain a fire. And with them maintaining a fire, you know what I'm saying? In the drizzle, there was a lot of smoke. So, you know, y'all know how it is when you're trying to start a fire when and the smoke is going everywhere. It's not very pleasant. It's kind of afflicting. Um, but you know, the brothers got together, we went out and we found some logs and stuff like that. And Lord was gracious enough to help us to get a fire going eventually. You know what I'm saying? And through it, we got a couple laughs in, a couple videos, things like that, right? Another thing that happened, right? I got two more things. There's a lot of things that happened. I'll talk about two more things. One thing that happened was, you know, a brother's sister just decided out of the whim to go to the gas station to fill up, right? Because she was being prudent. If we were being honest, she was being prudent. She said, she thought, you know, hey, look, tomorrow, Monday's supposed to be a Sabbath because it's our last day. Let me go fill up the car now that we don't have to worry about it tomorrow, right? A lot of people would have waited till tomorrow or forgot the next day was going to be a Sabbath, whatever. She did that. And, you know, at first we're like, man, she wanted to go right now at all times. But then, you know what I'm saying? She went a couple minutes, 3 minutes later, the brother is getting a call from his rib talking about she on the side of the road. She got a flat tire, you know what I'm saying? And so we're like, dang, man, what's going on? So the brother's at the camp. We got all these kids at the camp. Meanwhile, 2 of the ribs is gone, right? And so we don't got a baby seat for the for the ox baby. So he got to ride to the scene with the baby in his lap. We get out, you know what I'm saying? And you know, the scoffing comes, you know, the women at the scene, man, you know, they scoffing, you know, why would you do that? X, Y, and Z. It don't seem very convenient. But we get there, start figuring it out, right? It's a simple tire change, right? The simple tire change. We get out there, right? Start changing the tire. Right? It's not going as smooth as we thought. So the brother got a foreign car. You know what I'm saying? The brother got a foreign car. If you know anything about them foreign cars, they always come with a wheel lock key, right? So if you don't got a wheel lock key, you can't take the wheel off. Here's the thing. We had the wheel lock key, but the wheel lock key was stripped, right? The wheel lock key was stripped. And so what we had to do, we were sitting there, you know, time going by, it's supposed to rain in 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? We like, what we gonna do? We pull up the YouTube University, how to get a tire off without a wheel lock key. brothers driving across town to go to the AutoZone store and stuff like that. We trying to figure something out. Take us about a little over an hour. We get back. We Hebrew rig something up to get the wheel lock key, to get the wheel lock off, right? We change the tire and we say, Ka'Allah Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Why? Few reasons. Because one, the Most High, he held back the rain. We looked at the time like, dang, it was supposed to rain an hour ago, right? He held back the rain. Not only that, it seemed like an inopportune time for the tire to go flat, but all praise it happened when it did, because it could have happened on the highway, right? It could have happened the next day, which would have been a Sabbath, right? And it would have really been bad then. It could have happened in the rain, right? It could have really been bad, but the Most High, he made it happen. And when he made it happen, it was only 3 minutes down the road, right? And the sister was safe. we could get there, get everything done. And he held back the rain, like I said. And we said, call Allah Yahweh, you know what I'm saying, for getting us through that situation and handling it the way we did, right? And the brother, as you see, everybody on the screen. So everybody made it through. Everybody made it back to their humble abodes from that situation. Last thing I'll talk about is this, right? There's a brother on the screen, might be the same brother, might be a different brother, right? He's expecting his second child. And we're like, dang, man, need to do date sometime around when we're going to be out there or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So everybody was kind of making jokes and scoffing like, hey, I hope she don't go into labor in that tent. You know what I'm saying? But all praise to Allah Yahweh that he withheld the labor, right? He withheld the labor while we was out there to all the way to the point the brother is back with his rib where they live. Now they can properly nest and all of that. Another cool thing about it is, you know, we discussed this in our last Leviticus 23 feast, so they really can sit down and nest and be comfortable and get that rest that they really need, right? Because flip side of that, I mean, everything happens for a reason, and there could be blessings coming out of it too. But the Most High could have made her go into labor out there in the wilderness. You know what I'm saying? And we would have to figure it out, of course. And I know it happens to people all the time, but he was gracious enough to let them get back home to their humble abode, you know what I'm saying, and to do it that way, right? It'd be funny if they went into labor tonight, you know what I'm saying? He gave them enough time just to get back, type thing. But you know, we had a lot of things go on, and that was just the tip of the iceberg, you know. Sure, brothers had their individual things they had going on in their lives and whatnot. But, you know, adversity swords in the plows. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we made it through. We all learned new things. Yeah, I know how to take a wheel off without a wheel lock key now. You know what I'm saying? We all learned new things. We all grew. We know each other better, right? We know how to assess each other now, to help each other out, to stand in the gap for one another, things like that. And it's all going to be a betterment for us moving forward for other feast days. You know what I'm saying? We know kind of more so what directions we need to move, what we need to do, what we need to contribute, things like that. And we're going to pray that the Most High allows us to do those things. We also found out, a shout out to my rib, we found a location that could possibly be a staple location for feast days. Is very, I think it's very affordable. I think that location is kind of phenomenal in a sense. It could be closer to some brothers, but where it's at is it's got a lot of things around it that will contribute to a conducive feast day atmosphere, right? When you could talk about considering the men, women, and children, right, and visitors at that, right? But that's kind of my testimony, man. A lot of things seem inopportune and inconvenience, but the Lord, he either hit us from some certain things, he withheld some things, right? He sped up some things. Ultimately, he got us through it, and then we got through this week, and now we can, you know, hey, look, after this week, man, I told a lot of people, man, hey, look, I'm gonna be so relaxed after this week because I'm gonna be able to finally, you know, get some rest and relax, you know, especially once I get out over whatever this is, right? But you know, now we kind of on a downhill slope for the year. You know what I'm saying? We can kind of coast into the new year. All praise to the Most High, right? I got 2 more precepts, and then we'll be out of here. Let me share my screen again. Dang, just went away. It wasn't going to be a long video at all, man. Was going to do this out there, but you know, with the breaking down of the tents and all of that, and having to leave by a certain time, and you know, we had a lot going on, I decided to just wait till everybody got home, and boom, here we are. This is Romans 8:28. If a brother can read this for me.
Khan, this is Romans 8:28. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose.
Khan, man, I think when you look at the big scheme of things happen the way they did. They might have looked like swords at first, but I think because we were keeping the Feast of Tabernacles, right? One of the three important feasts of the Lord, one of his commanded feasts to keep. I think that because we did this, what it say, all things work together for the good of them that love God. We were showing God that we loved him. right? So he looked out for us in certain situations, even when we didn't think he was looking out for us, right? I got one more precept, and then brothers, feel free to any closing remarks, any closing precepts. You guys are more than welcome. But this is all I got. We're going to 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse number 17.
The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and 17. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory.
Right, man. The light afflictions that we did encounter, right, which is but for a moment. After we got that, hey, look, I ain't gonna lie to you. When I was sitting on the ground, I was straddling that tire. I'm thinking, bro, we don't got a wheel lock key that works. This tire is through. I'm thinking to myself, bro, I don't know how the Most High is gonna get us through this one. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know how it was gonna happen, but after we got it through it, it only seemed but for a moment. We got back, brothers got to enjoy some pizza. Might not have been as hot as it was fresh out the joint, right? But we got to enjoy pizza, and it only seemed like a moment, and the Most High got us through it. That's one thing I love about the Most High is even when you can't see the end, stay positive, keep thinking, jar half full, not half empty, and you're always gonna get there. It's gonna seem like but a moment. Go ahead there, Brother Obadiah.
Yeah, man, I was gonna get the Most High some praise, as well, man. Like everything happens, as a testimony to glorify the Most High. So you may be in a situation, and like the brother Denard said, you can't see the outcome. But just think about a lot of times you've been in a situation and it started off rocky, and you can't see the outcome, and the Most High God always came through. You might ain't got no money, like rent due, you gotta pay this, you gotta pay that. I'm pretty sure brothers got different testimonies of how the Most High just came through out of nowhere, and you weren't even expecting it. You may have started losing faith. Satan get in your ear. You ain't gonna, what you gonna do? You ain't got no bread. And that ain't not even just about money, just in general, how when adversity come and now you trying to figure out how you gonna get out this situation. Hey, we gotta remember, man, give it to the Most High. Like it's sometimes a lot of everything that we get put in, we may not be able to do it. That's why you gotta give it to the Most High. Let the Most High handle the situation, because He always come through for the sincere brothers and sisters, man, that truly love Him, that truly want to serve Him, that truly keep the commandments. He always gonna come through. So we ain't gotta wonder, and we ain't gotta get out the spirit and start losing faith whenever we get put in a low state. We just gotta trust in the Most High, because He'll make a way out of a way that we feel like or may seem like it's impossible. He'll make a way out of it. What you got, it, King?
Come on, man. That's a mighty point, man. It's spot on, man. Times where you just gotta think, I don't know how this is gonna pan itself out. I just know it's gonna pan itself out. It's got to, right? Because at one point I'm thinking, man, we gonna have to leave his car right here at this gas station. You know what I'm saying? Because I was really kind of stumped, right? Shout out to YouTube University too. You know what I'm saying? Taught me some things I didn't really know, and it actually worked. Sometimes you find videos on YouTube when you try to troubleshoot something, right? A lot of times it be them situations where it'd be like, yeah, it worked for Buddy, but it's not gonna work for you. Hey man, it worked like a charm. You know what I'm saying? And so shout out to everything that happened. Shout out to, even being in a congregation to where you got brothers that can brainstorm together. Brothers had ideas. Brothers was, coming up with certain things. Try this, try that, right? And we had enough brothers to come together to resolve the situation by the Spirit of the Most High, right? And so, like, when you look at that, some brothers don't got a congregation. They gotta go to the campsite by themselves. We seen people out there by themselves at the campsite that probably wasn't keeping the Feast of Tabernacles, but it was just them, the only man. You know what I'm saying? And let that be them in that situation, right? They kind of SOL. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got no brothers that can help get them from point A to point B. They go to the AutoZone store. You know what I'm saying? Then you got a brother that, hey, you know what I'm saying? Think outside the box. Let's look up YouTube. You know, they ain't got, you know what I'm saying? And so thank God that we're in a congregation. We can do these things. This is another reason why we're so commanded to come together and congregate, right? You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, man, I know for me, whenever I get in any situation where I don't see a way out or I don't know how it's gonna be resolved, the first thing I start doing is praying. You know, and once I pray, man, I'll be so confident in praying that it's gonna get resolved, right? It's not gonna get put off, it's gonna get resolved, no matter what it is. You know, I've told a story about that one time when I first met my rib and she lost her ring. Even when you lose something, right? If you come in somewhere, my mom says it all the time, you going somewhere, you want a good parking spot and you know it's going to be crowded and packed. And man, a little prayer goes a long way. So even pulling up to the spot, you know, knowing the brothers was having some trouble, right? You know, I said a little prayer then. I already knew so I knew it was going to be resolved. But the thing is, it was like, okay, now you got to, Most High, you got to show us how it's going to be resolved. And then that's when you start just coming up with ideas and ideas and ideas, right? And you know that one of them is going to work, right? And so, you know what I'm saying? It even get to the point to where it's like you might be at the cash register and be like, nah, yeah, this going to work. This going to work. Even if you don't know it's going to work, you speaking with conviction, like, yeah, this going to work. This going to be it. Because you know the Most High God, man, you prayed and asked God, you keeping His feast days, you're not sinning, you found innocent in the eyes of God, He gonna keep you, right? And I also want to say too, for anybody going through any situation that is unexpected, don't bow down to the situation, man. Find a way out, endure. You know what I'm saying? The Most High God, He didn't give us a spirit of fear or begging or covetousness. You can't just, you know, man, I wish I was so-and-so. If I was so-and-so, I wouldn't have to deal with it. But I would, man, you know what I'm saying? The grass ain't always green on the other side. Like we was talking about a brother that we know, he said, hey, you ever flip grass on the other side? It's dirt. You know what I'm saying? The grass ain't green on the other side. Just water your grass, whatever your situation is. Just focus on your situation and how you can get out of it and pray to the Most High God to give you the answer, because ultimately it wasn't us that came up with a solution. The Most High God led us to a solution so that we can get back before it got dark, right? So, you know, I want to say, like I said earlier, Tabernacles this year, man, you know, we learn a lot. You learn a lot from every feast day, man, but we learned a lot just as followers of the Most High God and as brothers and as sisters and as people and as adults, right? So, Khan,
Man. You know, I want to say, give a couple shout outs, man. It just reflecting too, man. Hey, this last day, the last night of rest was not really a night of rest for me, bro. I woke up like, I want to say like 5:45. I spent and I couldn't go back to sleep. I was in so much. My head was throbbing. My throat was in pain. You know what I'm saying? I had a hey man. I love brothers don't know. I was sitting in my truck for like from 5:48 to 7 o'clock in the morning, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just so miserable. You know what I'm saying? This morning, just thinking back on it, man. But all praise to the Most High. Because when I woke up, man, I you know, I was like, man, I want to thug it out in this tent, man. But you know, I don't want to, you know, have to go sit somewhere because I want to dwell in this booth for this last night. And I looked at my clock, said 5:48. I went and used the bathroom, came back, man. It was like 5:50 something. Pretty much 6 o'clock. So I'm like, man, the night pretty much over with anyway. The sun coming up. I'm just gonna ride. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna sit up in this truck. But I do want to give a few shout outs, man. Shout outs to the kids, man. Always, you know, a few things in this life show unconditional love and unconditional gratitude and happiness, and you know they can shake off bad moments quick. You know, you discipline them. They're upset. Next moment they're happy and they smiling. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the kids. They always bring good energy, right? And we got a lot of them, right? We got a lot of them. Hey, look, and more to come, right? We got some in the cooker right now. But Shout out to the kids. And then also I want to say shout out to my rib too, man. You know, she was running around like a Hebrew slave, right? Pun intended. You know what I'm saying? You know, when you have feast days, we have gatherings, even when we back in the day before COVID hit, and I don't know if I can say that without, you know, I think we could be through that part, but when the pandemic hit, you know, before that, people used to have cookouts and all that stuff, and people had their own roles and stuff like that. And sometimes, you know what I'm saying? I'll be sitting back like, dang, man, everybody all booed up with their wives. My wife over there cooking. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? She coming handing out hot chocolate for everybody. But hey, but somebody got to do it, right? So shout out to her. You know what I'm saying? Every congregation needs people like that to keep things rolling and afloat. So pray the Most High strengthens her to keep going, man, and that she never loses that fire to do those things, right? Because some people sometimes they can get fed up, be like, I ain't doing this no more. So shout out to her. And shout out to the brothers, man, for always keeping level heads, always trying to keep the main thing. The main thing, we had camp during Tabernacles too, right? Had a fun time. Brothers was hyped up on espresso coffee, but it's all good. We talked to a few lost sheep, man, and they got the word. Handed out some literature too. Had some good biblical conversations taking place and questions getting answered, stuff like that. Shout out to the brothers for keeping the main thing the main thing. Shout out for the women in general, just for cooking and watching the kids, getting them ready, things like that. Watching them, I know sometimes they can get kind of anxious, with always having the feeling like they got to be the babysitter, stuff like that. May the Lord strengthen them and keep them in good spirits to do so, right? But with that being said, I ain't got nothing else, man. Shout out to the Most High for getting us to this point right now, right? A conclusion, because a lot of times people don't get to get to the conclusion, right? Sometimes they get to a conclusion, but it's not the conclusion they wanted, right? And so I will say that. Anybody else got anything else?
Man, I just want to close out and say, man, like the brother said, man, beautiful, beautiful gathering. You know, it's always good to gather with family, man, because that's what it is. Like, you know, family, not like an organization or with a bunch of people who don't know each other. You know, been around each other enough. You know, it's like siblings. You know, so I always enjoy that experience, man. In so much that leading up to a couple of weeks ago, man, I was advocating that we was on the land together as a family for 8 days, but you know, the Lord let us. The Lord gave us an opportunity to go out there, enjoy nature, and fellowship with one with another, man. Like the brother Donald said, you know, shout out to his rib because she's always, you know what I'm saying, like the back and forth lady, you know what I'm saying, always making sure everybody's straight. But you know, all the brothers on the screen, like we was talking last night because the brother Obadiah had mentioned brothers was conversing, man. One thing I just want to say in closing is that, man, if you got a good woman, hold on to her, you know. And I feel like every brother on the screen has a good woman. You know, we have great women because we have women. We have women who want to take care of their man. We have women who want to, you know, be a good wife, be a good helpmeet. We have women who, you know, love each other, you know, even as sisters. So it's great to have that type of bond and fellowship as brothers because we can talk and we can sit back and admire our wives, and even scoff and laugh with them, you know, in them times like the brother Azrael mentioned that, you know, it may be a lot of frustration in the air, you know, but through the spirit, man, we look back at those times and we laugh at those things, you know. So want to give all praises, man, glory and honor to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, just for His commandments. Shout out to our women again. Can't never shout out the women enough, and you know, just for bringing our children into the earth, you know, just for you know, doing what they supposed to and everything they can do to be great helpmeets and make everything easier for us to, you know, make their lives easier in return. So all praise to the Most High.
Con, man.
Hey. All right, you want to say something, King?
Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to you know, the days in the Apocrypha, man. I feel like them. I think I say they're my favorite days. I like dedication. I feel like feast dedication is my favorite feast day, man. But just can't forget about them days in the Apocrypha, man. You know, those some beautiful times as well. I know the kids definitely gonna love Purim, so just wanted to shout out to them days in the Apocrypha too, man. Beautiful, man.
Come, man. It's interesting, man, because now the kids is getting older, they're starting to have memories now and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Starting to be able to contribute a little bit, and you know, they get into that age to where traditions are going to start being made, right?
Yeah.
And one thing about it, everybody that's with us, we want to be able to hold on to everybody that's around us because it's just going to add to the traditions that we set, and it's going to add to the memories, man. Right? We don't want to have a time where, remember when that brother was with us, remember when that sister was with us. You know what I'm saying? It all works better when we can fight through adversity and stay together and be able to get to our kids 20, 30 years old and they can remember back to these times, right? And that's what it's all about, because that's what people do in the world, right? When they celebrate Christmas and all of these things, right? No matter if they're going through an aunt with their brother, their sister, their cousin, whatever, they all still show up, right? It's the same thing for us. I'm not saying nobody has an aunt between us, but as we grow and stuff like that, definitely want to keep it together, man. We definitely want to keep showing up. That's the plan. Keep showing up, right? We had a brother that couldn't make it out there with us. Y'all pray for him. Brother had a toothache. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes things can hinder you, take you out. You know what I'm saying? But this is just an encouragement to not to let anything take you out, right? Keep showing up no matter what, right? It's easier said than done. I know, easier said than done. I know, but keep showing up, right? If none of the brothers got anything else to say, I'll go ahead and conclude it, right? Feast of Tabernacles 2025, right? Feast of Tabernacles 2025. We made it through, right? Shout out to the Lord's feast, right? Let's get it's no folly, but let's get some rest. You know what I'm saying? You can sleep comfortably tonight on your Tempur-Pedic. You know what I'm saying? And we can get back to kind of regular life, so to speak. But remember to keep putting your brick in, right? First and foremost, we give all honor and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We do so by way of only begotten Son, who's an instrument of salvation for the nation, who some may call Jesus Christ, some may call Yeshua. We look at him as Yahweh Shai, right? And we look at him as our Savior. And he said, remember, if you're not helping to gather, you're helping to scatter. So what are you doing? What are you doing? And we'll see you guys tomorrow. You got me back again tomorrow. I guess you get back to back and all, right? Back to back, belt to Shazar, right? But come on, man. We see you guys tomorrow, Lord willing. Hope you guys have a wonderful Feast of Tabernacle season. As you conclude, man, looking forward to the pictures and videos that we'll see on our social media algorithms, all of that good stuff. But we'll see you guys next time. Shalom.